Hello, my name is David Moyle, and this is Classic Film Contrarian, a series that challenges some widespread assumptions about classic Hollywood films and along the way attacks a few sacred cows. This time I'd like to talk about a few myths that persist around the great director John Ford. There's perhaps no one in classic Hollywood, with the possible exception of Alfred Hitchcock or Orson Welles, who's had more written and said about him than John Ford. Each year there are books, articles, documentaries, all sorts of things that just pour out about the man and his work. But one of the things that fascinates me is there are a lot of myths about Ford that continue to persist, and they aren't necessarily correct ones. And one is that he was born in Ireland. Though he really celebrated his Irish heritage, he was actually born a bartender's son in Portland, Maine. Another, which Ford actually fostered himself, was that he had once been a cowboy. This is absolutely not true. He went directly from Portland, Maine to Hollywood in the film business. Another is that he mostly made westerns, most of which starred John Wayne. And while he made some wonderful films with Wayne and wonderful westerns with Wayne, the vast majority of his films were really not westerns and didn't star John Wayne. Of the films that Ford made after 1921, the last 45 years of his career, only about 20% of them were westerns. And of the 140 films that he made overall, only 13 of them starred John Wayne, and only 8 of those were westerns. So there's a lot there that we don't normally think of when we think of John Ford right away. Another one of the myths, I think, is that he was mainly a man's director who didn't care all that much about the women characters. And when you really look closely at Ford, you really find that that isn't true either. He made many films in which women were the main characters. Just a few examples are the 30s films Pilgrimage and Wee Willie Winkie, and then the later films Magambo and Seven Women. He also made films in which, even though they're strong leading men, they're also very, very strong leading women. Like Maureen O'Hara in The Quiet Man, or Maureen O'Hara in Rio Grande, or some of the characters in How Green Was My Valley. So there's a lot there. In addition, Ford really worked at creating interesting, compelling, complex, diverse characters. There's no such thing as the Fordian female, like they say with Howard Hawks's Wisecracking Babes, or Alfred Hitchcock's Cold Icy Blondes. Ford didn't stereotype, he didn't objectify, he just really tried to create real people in all their diversity. And one of the things that was interesting is that he attracted many, many of the great actresses of his time. In addition to Maureen O'Hara, who he's often associated with, he worked with Katharine Hepburn, Barbara Stanwyck, Loretta Young, Jean Arthur, Grace Kelly, Ava Gardner, Anne Bancroft, even Shirley Temple, twice. So he made quite a few films and really, really did quite a bit with his female characters. If you're interested in learning more about this subject and the risk of being a little bit on the self-serving side, I'd love to recommend this book. It's called Women in the Films of John Ford, and I recently completed this working with McFarland Publishing. And in it, we talk about many of the actresses, both well-known and more obscure, who worked with Ford in his films, and just did wonderful renditions of characters in many, many, many films. It's available right now either through the publisher or through Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. If you're interested, I think it's a good read. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again when I talk about another subject on Classic Film Contrarian.